Okay. Picture good, sound good, all good. Thanks, Maschine. Empty Vessel says much better, mate. And Yasmin says everything is great. Hey. Yasmin is my girlfriend. She's awesome. She's watching from next door because she doesn't want to accidentally run through the video. Okay, let's go. Let's get pumped up here with some mate. I need louder music. So, what I'm trying to do here is just share my unboxing and first try with you of Maschine Plus, the new Maschine standalone machine that Native Instruments announced like 2 days ago. I was incredibly lucky to get one. Don't ask me why. They just told me, hey, dude, you're getting one. It's gonna be there really soon. And I thought, like, maybe if I'm lucky, it gets here next week or something. But today, the postman brought this. Maschine Plus, and yeah, man, I'm excited. I realize this is a huge privilege to receive this and also to receive this that early. I think not many final units have been delivered yet. I know that Bull Beats and Accurate Beats and some other people have like prototypes with beta software versions on them, and that is pretty cool. They showed me, they showed us them, they shared that, but I'm eager to see the final production unit because this is the unit you're going to get when you order it, when you buy it in the shop. This is the finished product. The software, I was told by Native Instruments, is still not in its final stage yet. The software that this will come with is still a late beta. And until the actual release of this, October 1st, it will be updated at least one more time. So we might see some issues that are beta software related. We'll see. Take a look at the chat. Yeah, it's nice. Okay, that's cool. So I have different camera angles here. I have this one. I have this one. I have this one where I have to cover up the personal data for now. And we have a little, let me check that, little Osmo Cam, which I can use to give you some close-ups and stuff. So there's quite some stuff going on. Let's unbox this. Let's switch up to there. So the box, pretty heavy. Well, not actually that much heavier than the original Maschine. I have the Mark III. It's somewhere here. I can whip it out later to make a comparison. And this seems to me a bit heavier. Other than that, it's the same thing. And as you can tell, it has this NFR sticker, not for resale, which means this is a unit that I have received for free, such as artists or reviewers or beta testers and people get these, and you're supposed not to sell them. And yeah, why would I sell that? This is a keeper, I assume. So it says includes massive Monarch prism and more, standalone production and performance instrument. Yeah. Here it says Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, has these logos on there. PC version and Mac. Oh, very minimalistic. Nice. So let's take a look at the chat. Would love to see you maxing out the CPU, track name, project saving, and onboard keyboard. That's a very good suggestion, Max. And yeah, I was planning to do that. I would love to max the CPU out too. But keep in mind that it apparently is still a non-final version of the software. So performance issues that we discovered today might not be, showing up in the final version of the software. Okay, let's open this up, guys. Oh, actually need a cutter there. Okay, gotta get that. We do this properly. All right, here I am back again. Check this mic here. Okay, so I just recognize that the lag is pretty heavy. It takes quite a while until I see your chat and everything's having a delay. So if it takes a moment to answer what you're writing to me, yeah, bear that in mind. Electric says, I just decided for an Akai Force to buy and now this. Yeah, I heard that from quite some people. Well, for me, it's never has been I have never had to decide between Maschine and MPC because I was never an MPC user. I have never owned or used an MPC. The only Akai product I ever had was an MPK keyboard, which was great, but I was not socialized with the MPC ecosystem. And I'm an Ableton user mostly and Maschine. So for me, it's not deciding between MPC 1 or MPC Live Mark II and Maschine Plus, but rather which Maschine will I get? That's the decision I'm making. So, but I know for some people it's a thing. Okay, something's bothering me. The camera, I want that a bit higher. I'm gonna fix that quickly. Yeah, that's much better. All right, let's open this one up. Okay, Max says not official. I wonder if I can control my Akai S3200 with this machine. There's no info available, at least to me at this point. If this can be used as a controller for other stuff, but Maschine Mark III could be used for that, so I don't see a reason why this can't. At least at some point. Oh. Okay. Big moment. I'm not meaning to tease you, but I'm excited. I'm excited as hell. Max says, MPC Akai world is another philosophy than an iMachine. Yes, I think so too. I would love to discover the Akai world at some point as well, but it's really a question of time and budget and stuff. Max asks, but confirmed by NI, you can use NI audio interfaces 1, 2, and 6 to use as in and out for audio and MIDI on Maschine Plus. Exactly, that's true. Native Instruments have confirmed that to me. It is possible to connect via USB the Native Instruments audio interfaces to get additional audio in and outputs. And whether or not it will be possible to connect third-party audio interfaces at some point, this has not been confirmed. It's possibly going to be a feature at some point, but they have not confirmed that yet. Electric says, Akai Force is more like Ableton in a box. Well, yeah, I heard people say that. I can't confirm it. I haven't used it. Electric says, I use Maschine as a plugin within Ableton. I do too, very often. It's a bit clumsy, but I think it improved a lot better. It's gotten a lot better. DJ Disc Machine on Twitch says MPC 500 or bust. Yeah, MPC 500 is probably one of the better MPCs. I've seen people use that. But if I had to choose one, I would probably go with the MPC 2000 XL, because that's the one that DJ Premier used, isn't it? You had that and some EMU sampler or ESI sampler, those two in combination. That would be a nice setup. Upcoming clips feature will be nice. Yeah. Maschine has a clip feature coming up, and the arranger will be getting much more flexible. Love the Maschine sound, yeah, same here. But I also love polyrhythms. Yeah, who doesn't? Okay, wanna unbox this? Let's open it up. Oh, it smells, it has this new car smell going on. Ooh, let me switch this over here. So, it smells good. There we go. Oh yes. Here it is. Oh my god. So that's the Maschine, and here we have the silica stuff, power supply, and safety instructions. And that's all there is. That's not a lot. That's a very, very, well, slim package, I'd say. Honestly, okay, that was a quick unboxing. And honestly, for a premium product at that price point, it wasn't all that fancy. I've seen fancier packaging lately with some companies, but well, there's some aspects to packaging. You know, some of these fancy packaging styles, they produce a lot of waste and garbage. For example, I have a loop deck controller, and that was super stylishly packaged, and it was box after box, and when it was done, I had this pile of garbage. And yeah, maybe whatever. It's just a box. You throw it away anyway, so it doesn't have to be something fancy. Any news or leaks from Ableton Push 3? No, absolutely not. And trust me, I've been trying to find out about Push 3 for ages. And I've been asking many questions to many people, some of whom would probably know, and I cannot confirm anything. I don't know. Ableton are really good at keeping stuff to themselves, so possibly there's nothing going on there, or maybe they're going to release a new version next week. We'll never know, because they are really good at keeping information internal. Electric, I like the design language of it. Yes. If you're meaning Maschine, yes, I do too. Never felt good with MPC Akai project flow, says Max. Yeah. I have an MPC 1, but just bought it for the standalone aspect. It's already on sale and pre-ordered. Maschine Plus, nothing beats Maschine workflow, says Alex. Yeah. Anchovies, well, yeah, it smelled like new car, like chemical, but in a good way. Yeah, let's get amongst it now, then dig it out. yeah, I gotta tease you guys. As far as Maschine workflow goes, yeah, I totally agree. You can get really quick at making beats with this. So here we go. Ooh, it's heavy. Definitely heavier than the Mark III. Wow. Okay. This looks good. This looks really good, guys. It's beautiful. I can zoom in a bit. Yeah, focus should be okay. Well, this looks good. I gotta say. Wow. Okay, the buttons are metal, as advertised, and they feel very, very robust and sturdy. It's really hard to turn them, but that's normal. If you break them in, after a while, they get more smooth. This is the 4-dimensional button, which I got to really love. I didn't use it at all when they first introduced it. Now I can't live without it. DJ Disc Machine says that fresh smell is brominated flame retardants, and wow, that doesn't sound healthy at all. Atom Machine says SpaceX could take that to Mars. The international short manual of the screen is cool. Yeah, it looks so much nicer than all of the Akai devices, says Max Mateo. Yeah, it really is pleasing to the eye, I have to say that. It feels super sturdy. Let's take a look at the back. Ah, yes. So the back is all metal too, aluminum, and it's not black. It's yeah, you can clearly see it's not black. It's sort of a gray. I'm gonna put the Mark III next to it so we can compare it. Oh, this is exciting. So here we have both of them next to each other. Ah, okay, I see. It's interesting. Well, it looks pretty much identical. The material of the strip is different. It's not as smooth. It's like a bit rougher. The buttons feel identical, as far as I can tell. The pads feel identical too. You can see those have yellowed quite a bit over time. These are fresh. This all feels absolutely identical. So do these. So the main differences at first sight is these are metal instead of plastic. This 4D encoder is metal, at least covered with some sort of metal-ish material, but it's a plastic encoder, like this. It feels a bit more nice to the touch. And this is not smooth, which is weird because you want to slide around on this. This one is slippier than this. This has some sort of grip to it. I think the main difference in appearance comes from these black elements they added. It gives it a different look, but the position of everything seems to be exactly the same. And yeah, of course, the outer casing is aluminum. Come on, we want to see some colors. Bigger jog wheel. No, it's not bigger. It's the same. So, oh, the overlay fell off. I didn't even look at it. What does it say? Attach it to power and then turn it on. That's... I mean, who actually... You realize they do this because some people struggle with this, right? They wouldn't take the effort to make this thing... If there weren't people calling, you know, customer service like, yeah, I got this thing, it does nothing. How can I fix that? Wow. Okay, let's do it. Oh, it's falling all over the place. So we have the power adapter with the various, you know, international things on it, plugs on it. But you can see me fail terribly at connecting this. Ah, that's it. Plug this in. Time for boot up, Wi-Fi connect and login. Yes, Max, I'm at it. So, it really does have that fresh car smell for some reason. It's a bit chemical. It's not overwhelming, it's not bad, but it is there. There might be some residue from the package material. Oh, we never take a look at the back of it. Let's do that before I plug it in. So we have two USB ports there. Let's adjust the focus a bit. There we go. So we have two USB-A ports. Phone volume, phone plug, line out volume, line out, stereo. Input gain, mic input, two line inputs for two separate channels or one stereo. Although I do not know if these are actually stereo inputs or balanced mono inputs, we'll find out. MIDI output, MIDI input, a pedal input, which you can use on Maschine to trigger record or stop and start. There is a USB B port to connect it to a computer. The power plug port, and yeah, as I said, the two USB A connectors. Yeah, looks pretty nice. Let's plug it in. You can secure, that's something I want to show you. You can lock apparently you can lock how do you do it? I might just do it to, well, you can plug that in and it says to turn it so you can apparently lock it. Okay, there seems to be some sort of, I got it. Okay, it's locked now. So I can't pull it out. That's great for live use. Always something you're concerned about when you do live shows. Accidentally pulling the plug and having no sound anymore. Okay, so now I'm gonna crawl around and find an outlet for this. Bear with me. Okay, got it hooked up to electricity and there's a light pulsing there. Electric says no phono. Yeah, that's something I was a bit disappointed to see too. Many manufacturers keep forgetting the phono input. I mean, I have a record player, no Technics, and I want to connect it directly without, going through a mixer. But you can use a mixer or you can use some sort of adapter. Max says, no offense, you're doing great. Thanks, Max. Glad you like it. And Disc Machine asked, what's the voltage on the PSU? I can't tell you, I don't know. I forgot to take a look, but let's see if we can see any. Oh, there's no info on that. Yeah, you can check that out later. I dropped some stuff that was in that box. I hope it wasn't something important. Oh, well, there's the USB cable. Let's connect that. No, I was about to connect the USB cable and it's a standalone instrument. We don't need a USB cable for anything. That's so weird using Maschine without anything connected to it. Can you try massive while in standalone? Yeah, definitely, Terry. That's something we're going to do. It's connected now. It's connected to the audio as well. I'm gonna hook it up to my. Switch to the other camera so you can see what I'm doing. I got some audio cables here. I'm gonna plug those in. The line outputs. And I'm gonna hook it up to my trusted Keith Macmillan K-Mix interface, which I was about to retire. Sorry. Hope nobody got ill because of the shaky footage. Yeah, the K-Mix is now my streaming interface. I was about to retire it, but then I thought it would be a nice compact interface for streaming, and it works fine so far. Okay, let's power it up. Where's the power button though? Oh, here it is. Ooh. All right. Maschine Plus is starting. Turning up the level for Maschine a bit, so in case something happens, we can hear it. I'm gonna move it a bit away from the light, because that does not look nice. Hope you can see the screen well. So, what does it say? Thank you for choosing Maschine Plus. You're just a few steps away from making music. That's cool. Next, let's get started. Step 1, connect to a Wi-Fi network. Okay, I will do that quickly without you seeing my data. So let's choose my Wi-Fi. Okay, just so you see, there's a screen now where I have to enter my Wi-Fi password, and I was wondering how they would do that, you know, how they would treat entering data. So let's try. Okay, you just use the 4D encoder. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, gonna enter my stuff here. Okay, it's fairly straightforward. Haha. I'm excited. I don't get that excited about new gear that often anymore. Maybe because I'm old or something, but this one really got me excited. So now it says connect your native ID. Scan the QR code using the camera app on your mobile device to connect Maschine Plus to your native ID, or press Enter ID to add your details manually. Okay, I'll try to do it with my phone. See what the chat says. A few steps, Wi-Fi. Yeah. Thanks so much for doing this. This is awesome. Thanks, Body Beats. It's a pleasure. Thanks for being here. The refocus on the screen is sharper. Yes, thanks for pointing that out. I'll try. That should do the trick, I think. Doesn't get sharper than that. It's embedded Linux with a real-time kernel. I can't say anything about that. I'm not a computer expert at all. So VM Sky says hard drive SSD is being worked on according to Boris, or on an NI live stream right now. Feature is not ready, but they are trying. That's correct. That's what NI said to me as well. They are working on the support of external hard drives. I think that's something we can expect to be added as a feature quite quickly, because it's a key feature, isn't it? So, and I are doing a live stream right now as well. Is that what you're saying? That timing from my side. Let's check it out. Let's check out. Native Instruments are streaming. No, I don't think so. Oh yes, they are. No, they're not. Oh, whatever. I'm streaming. That's all I need to know. All right. Electric says I'm sharp as hell. Thanks, man. Okay, I'm gonna scan this thing now and I'm gonna see what happens. It tells me it's going to open a website for authentication. Here we go. I have to enter a code that is displayed on the screen. Okay, I'm gonna do that. So far, this is a fairly simple process. Okay. Is it correct? I think so. Okay, next step is I have to log in with my native ID. Not sure if I know that by memory, but I'll try. Oh yeah, it's even It seems to be saved here. Ah, now it says, congratulations, you're done. Your Maschine Plus is connected. Cool. Let's see what's happening on the screen. It says register, blah, blah, blah. Yes, okay, gotta be careful here with sharing personal information on a live stream. I heard that can end badly. Well, meanwhile, I can read the Octatrack manual again. I'm gonna check some chats soon. I just want to see what's going on here. Learn Maschine Plus. Scan the QR code using the camera app on your mobile device to learn Maschine Plus. Nah, we're not going to do that. Press OK. Okay. Gonna put this one away. Battery died. Osmo Action, not the greatest action camera, I guess. So, yeah. Apparently, we're ready to go here. Let's check if we can move this light a bit. So, no reflections. Before we get started with the sound, let's check some chats. Initial setups via Wi-Fi and ID. Exactly, that's what we just did. They need big data. Well, to be fair, they don't collect that much data, I think. Do you have any MPC standalone? No, I don't. I don't have any, and I haven't used it, so I cannot really compare this to MPC. I know you're not there yet, but I'd like to know if there's a way to view CPU RAM usage and it probably doesn't stream off the SD card, right? We're gonna try that. Good question, Greg. We're gonna figure it out. Well, meanwhile, I can read the Octatrack manual again. Electric, yeah, that will take you a while, I guess. I mean, it's insanely complex, isn't it? One thing I'd love to see now that it's set up, shut it down and reboot it at some point to see how long it takes to boot and be ready to play. Suggestion by Bodhi Beats, and that's a pretty great suggestion. So I'm gonna do that right away. Before we even start using it, we're gonna turn it off again. Just, just for the lulz, okay? And if you have a problem with that, say thanks to Bodhi Beats. Okay, I'm turning it off. Do you want to proceed? Shut down, of course. That's why I hit it. Okay, now it's shutting down. I'm gonna take the time. Ooh, it's taking quite a while to shut down. Now it's shut down, exactly now. Keep in mind, still, this is a beta version of the software. This is the final hardware, but not the final software. So take everything that happens with a grain of salt. Okay, let's turn it on. Ready, set, and go. I hit the wrong button on my phone. Do we have to do it again? Okay, it's loading. It's loading. Yeah, it is a good idea, Bodhi Bits. Thanks. Yeah, that was it. Okay, it's not really fast, but it's not terribly slow either. I mean, some of my analog synthesizers, they need like 20 minutes to warm up before I can actually use them. I had a OB6 by Dave Smith. And that took like at least 30 minutes to warm up before it ran stable without, you know, wobbling all over the place. So yeah, it's not quick, but it's not too bad. Comparable to MPC Live or Octatrack, to be honest. I don't know. I haven't owned either. I just have Digitact, and I had a Analog Rhythm Digitone, and those boot up quite quickly. Okay, everybody seems to think it's decent. Empty Vessel said it's not quite the instant boot I was expecting. Oof, that sweet Club Mate, love it. Yeah, same here. I'm kind of addicted to it at this point. It's ridiculous. Let's make some music with this. Okay, it's a Maschine, so... Okay, so we're running into something here. Apparently there's no content on it yet. So it says, press next to see a variety of free sounds available to download and install directly on your Maschine Plus. Let's do that. Library, retrieving products. Okay, apparently Maschine is now retrieving products. It says there's 59 gigabytes available and it's using up 2 or 3% of CPU. It says right there. Aha. Okay, now stuff is showing up. But is it available actually? Oh no. Okay, so this is apparently here is available content. Take a look at that. Okay. So, oh, where's it? Library, okay. So let's just install something to see what happens. Starting with a smaller, so these are apparently all the expansions and instruments I own. But we have FM8. Let's check out Massive. Where's Massive? No Massive. Basis, down. Stadium Flex, those are expansions for Massive. Library, hardware. Okay, I'm gonna start by installing FM8. Install. Let's see how long that takes. Shouldn't take too long. I mean, it's only a plugin. It's not sample based or anything. Milan Wolf asked, does it have disk streaming for samples? Well, at this point, it's not possible to connect an external hard disk to it, so no. But once it is, I think it will have that feature. We don't know though. Switch to installed. Max says switch to installed on the first knob. Okay, thanks for the suggestion. Installed. Ah, so that was a good suggestion. There's also there's stuff already installed, and what I just did was started to install additional content that was connected through my account. So we have Contact Factory Selection, Maschine 2 Factory Selection, Massive, Monarch, Prism, Reactor 6, Reactor Factory Selection R2. Wow, okay. That's pretty nice. Let's see what the download is doing from FM8. Where is it? It's installed. Okay, it didn't take ages. Joseph says it does have disk streaming. You can stream from the card. Okay, can confirm. $8020 ask, I'm totally tuned to Maschine. It's not going to clog up screens with things you don't own, is it? No, definitely not. It will only show you stuff that you own, except in this display right here, because this is where you install stuff. So, Octatrack boots fast. Okay, thanks, Adam. Joseph says, yeah, you can stream from card. FM8, yes, I could be wrong. We'll find out, Joseph. There's so many information flowing around now. It's really hard to keep track of everything. But I'm only the stuff I'm telling you in the stream is stuff that I have actually has been confirmed to me in person by a person working at Native Instrument that got in touch with me for, you know, sending this over. So let's try it out. Let's do something with it. Just gonna add. Let's go with what plugin do we want to start with? I mean, obviously we want to start with some plugin, right? Because that's like the thing that gets me all hyped up is using Native Instruments plugin standalone without a computer. That's the shit. The whole sample and Maschine features, yeah, of course, yeah, that's good, but let's start with the instruments. Let me know which one you want to try out first. Meanwhile, I will take a look at what we have here. So first come, first serve. Max says Monarch, Electric says FM8, and Milan is still on the whole disk streaming. It's good to exchange that. So VM Sky says Prism, and Greg Mancy says Massive. We'll just try them all, but we'll start with Monarch. Max was first, so let's start Monarch. Very nice one. I really like it. Oh, okay. That's an interesting observation right away. So I could be wrong, but the speed of the preview is tiny bit slower than when I do that on my computer. I have all my samples and the preview data that Native Instruments stores in a folder on a SSD, external SSD, which is connected via USB-C 3.1 Gen 2 or something. And this is feeling a tiny bit slower. So DJ Disc Machine says, we're only hearing the right output from the Maschine. Thanks for pointing that out. I'll gonna try to fix that. Yeah, same here. Yeah, okay, we fixed that. Monarch is the reason I bought Behringer Model D. Fair point. Okay, let's try Monarch. Let's try the basics preset. Okay, something I'm really eager to find out is what about latency? What about, you know, lag? Is it gonna feel responsive and stuff? Feels great, actually. Let's check out the plugin parameters. Let's pick some scale here. Go for D minor. Max says, please check hardware audio settings. It usually shows latency and audio quality settings. Thanks for pointing that out. We'll check that. Electric says, sounds very compressed over YouTube. How does it sound over there? Pretty normal. Let me use it a bit more to actually make a qualified statement there, but it's so crazy to use Native Instruments plugins that you've used half your life on a computer in a standalone unit. I don't know what it is about that, but it's what did I do? Did I mute it? Okay. So one issue for me. One issue for me is it will be fun to actually program sounds and edit sounds on this, because so far the sound editing with the hardware, even with the Mark III, it's not that spectacular. I think Ableton have done a bit of a better job at integrating their plugins or instruments into the Push 2 controller. While Native Instruments, it's still pretty basic. You have this, you know, little picture of the plugin, and then you have this row of, well, it's fine to kind of tweak an existing sound on the fly during a performance or something, but it's probably not ideal to program a sound from scratch. I mean, I think Empty Vessel is probably more of an expert when it comes to using hardware interfaces to create patches, as he is a pro patch designer. But yeah, for me, I would probably still like to use the software interface to create the sounds from scratch more, but time will show. Maybe they will improve it. DJ Disc Machine says, I feel the digital FM warmth through the interwebs. Yeah, for sure. I think it's analog FM though, isn't it? Monarch, you know. Looks like joy and fun. Do you really already feel some warmth from the CPU? Good question. By lost it by Milan. Let's feel. Now it's slightly warm-ish at some point of the case. Also, is there a? It's silent. There's no fan. It's absolutely silent. That was something I was worried about. Maybe there's a fan in there. It gets loud when it warms up. Absolutely not. Something that worries me a bit is this right here. I don't know if you can tell. This says 24% CPU. And I've just loaded one instance of Monarch. But that does not necessarily have to mean anything. I will just add a second instance of Monarch to a second group and see what happens. Loading the same plugin, the same preset. So now we have 25% CPU. That's what I thought. Just because one instance of a plugin, you know, asks for 24% of CPU resource, doesn't mean that if you use two plugins, it doubles it. Now let's add a third one, and maybe let's add a different one to see. Maybe we'll keep adding them to see if we can max it out. Or let's do that later. Let's check the chat first. CPU wise, is the Wi-Fi still loading though? No, I think it's not. It's fine. The size is really nice. The Archive force is huge. Yep. It's passively cooled, says Max. That's probably true. There's nothing audible, at least. They didn't mention a fan, so yeah. Let's see where it goes. Maybe during playback with notes. Yeah, exactly, Max. Let's do later in the stream. Let's do a max out the CPU test. We'll just keep adding instances of plugins and sequences and see what happens. So let's try some more stuff then. Let's try Massive. One of my personal favorites from the plugins that are available. And it's nice to see it has all the expansions available that I bought over time. Some are missing still. Let's try this one. So CPU usage is still at 26%. Looks totally fine. Awesome. Let's try another plugin. FM8. Oh, yeah, there's also Contact in there. That's something I'm excited to actually try. But let's start with... Start with FM8. Wow, that's pretty dope. So playing some chords now. We're still at around 25 to 27% CPU. Yeah, that's totally fine. Let's try Contact. Oddly, I'm even maybe a bit more excited about the fact that it can run Contact libraries. For now, it only supports a selection of Native Instruments' own Contact instruments, and not all of them, but those that have been ported to the machine yet. But the fact that it does support Contact libraries makes me hope that at some point it might also support third-party Contact instruments. That's where things will get really interesting. Imagine using, for example, Output, Substance, or Exhale and stuff like that, or Heaviosity, or even Spitfire or whatever on a standalone hardware machine. That would be so awesome. Thanks for demoing the FM8. Well, I'm not actually demoing. I'm, just pressing buttons and noodling around. Puts on some stream music. Okay. They're adding porting a lot of their plugins over soon, supposedly. Says, yeah, well, I cannot confirm it, but, well, if you think about it, it's to be suspected because the selection of stuff that it supports at launch is pretty much identical with the plugins that they have all this time already included in Maschine expansions. So very obviously they try to make expansions compatible with this from launch. You have any Maschine expansion, it will work on the Maschine Plus without exceptions because all the presets for plugins in expansions are covered by the plugins that Maschine Plus runs natively in standalone mode. So that's what they focused on first, but that does not mean that it ends there. I'm sure they will, over time, maybe little by little add more of their own instruments to Maschine Plus. Any expansions you have are compatible, exactly. That's what I was saying, yeah. But let's see what we have already. Contact. Yeah, as I said before, the browsing of previews from patch previews is not quite as snappy as it is on my computer, but it's not problematic at all. It's absolutely okay. Okay, so it's not much Contact stuff in there yet. Let's try this. Okay, took a while to load. Let's see what we got. That did not work. That's pretty straightforward, isn't it? I mean, yeah. It's seriously snappy. It's really great. I can't notice any serious latency latency y or something there. It's fine. We're gonna see if it's the same with drums because that's more critical. Preview doesn't seem any slower than my Mark III personally, but could be my PC. Yeah, that's true. Name Rick Kennedy. The speed of the preview on a computer is very much dependent on many elements of the computer. It might be faster on some systems than others, but it will be equally fast on every Maschine Plus. So if you're running a slower computer, you might think, okay, Maschine Plus, way faster. If you're using a high-end computer, maybe this is a bit a step back, but in any case, it's absolutely fine. Are you going to sample something later? Yeah, let's see, Roy. I don't know yet. How affect audio samples the CPU? Can you try out the clip mode? Yeah, well, I'll try everything. You have contact. Reactor is another one I think many people are excited about. So bank-wise, I have Carbon 2, Laserbase, New School, and Space Drone, which are some of the rather old and almost vintage ensembles. I think at this point it's not possible to run just any ensemble you find somewhere on there. Let's add some effects to this and see what we have in the effect department. Native Instruments effects, FM8 effects, and Reactor 6 effects. There's more, but I have not installed them yet. And then we have the internal effects, and those should be identical to the controller mode. And yeah, apparently they are. Let's add some reverb. Metaverb. Size. Okay, that's pretty cool. If actually, to be honest, it feels just like using Maschine with a computer for me, because when I use Maschine with a computer, I never look at the computer screen either, because I can do whatever I typically do with Maschine just with the controller. But yeah, it's odd. You kind of forget that you're using a computer with Maschine in the first place. And in this case, you don't have to forget because you're not using a computer in the first case. It's weird, to be honest, but it's cool. Milan and Roy say thanks for demoing. Yeah, you're very welcome. I was like, this got delivered today, and I thought, okay, I have to share this with as many people as possible, and I thought the best way to do that was to stream it. Let's see what we have, like file management wise. Gonna load a demo song, projects. So here it comes with some projects apparently. The project was modified. Do you want to save it? No. Okay, now it's loading. And that didn't take too long. Okay, this is a demo project.
Yeah.
This has 7 groups.
Yeah.
Sampler, sample with EQ, sample with EQ and some effects, sample with chorus, 1 instance of massive, another sampler, and another sampler. So this project has So this project has 7 groups. 1 is a massive plugin. The other 6 are samplers. There's a bunch of effects in there, internal effects. And it's not that complex. And we're running at around 47 to 50 something % of CPU. 60 now. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's pretty dope. Also, you can see right here the new clip mode, isn't it? The new arranger mode. I'm not sure if that has been officially rolled out yet or if this is just something that's on my beta unit. Not sure, you tell me. Is this clip mode or is it not? I'm not sure. No, I think it's this, the regular song or idea mode, isn't it? Yeah, no, this I think is not clip mode. I want to check some drums to see how responsive it is. Oh, I have to leave this. Okay. Want to load a new project. Discard. This is a critical point for me if I have lag or latency while finger drumming. That's pretty much a no-go for me. I'm not an professional expert finger drummer at all, but I like to use my fingers to record stuff on the fly a lot, and if that doesn't really feel responsive and snappy enough, that's pretty much a no-go on any device for me. So this is a critical point for me personally. I want to check out. Wow, that's a ugly drum kit. Let's choose something else. Jake says it would be nice for Maschine to catch up. This would be a perfect device to implement it in. Sequencer-wise, I guess you're meaning, and yep, that's true. But I think they're working on it. VM Sky says, I know I use that feature a lot, but I would have hoped that it caught up with Akai. Okay, yeah, lifetime stretching was what you're talking about. Not something I use much on Maschine, maybe because the time stretching isn't so great in the first place. I use it all the time in Ableton, but when I do beats on Maschine, I don't know. I work in a different way. That does not involve time stretching mostly. To discard this. Let me do something quickly. Okay, I have just for safety. Okay, not connected anymore. Okay, switching back. What I just did was I plugged in the headphone directly into Maschine just to make sure if any latency that I experience is not introduced by some of the external audio interfaces this is running through, but it feels absolutely the same, so that's not an issue. And somebody said before to check the settings, and when I do that, it wants me to update. Let's check the audio settings, MIDI hardware, so you can see what I'm doing. General. Oh, I think there should be MIDI settings, hardware, library, network device mode, update about. Okay. So it doesn't look like I can actually change any audio settings or, you know, buffer settings or something. So it's apparently just as is. If I'm missing something here, please let me know. Okay, makes it switch. I did. Cool. Okay, well, yeah, there you have it. It's Maschine. Please let me know if there's anything specific you want to know or you want me to try for you on the stream, because otherwise I would just, you know, probably continue noodling around. Let me know in the chat what you want to see, what you want me to check out for you. Max says renaming tracks. Okay, let's try that. I added a kit. There's probably already a pattern in there. Where is it? Here. There's not, so let's create one. Set the tempo to, I don't know, 100 maybe. And we have the metronome activated, I have to count in. Okay, that was very off timing wise. Let's quantize it. Okay, that was a bit off, but whatever. It works for the purpose. And now you wanted me to naming and renaming flows. Okay, so let's see. I can save as a sound, group, or project. Let's save as a project. And now I can enter a name. BS. Enter. Okay, that was simple. Let's check out if we can also rename, well, yeah, it already told me. We can rename a group or we can save it. And we have the 808 kit selected on the first pad, save as, and again, save it as 808 kit. Oh, that's a bit jumpy. There's something a bit off there. Okay, yeah. So it's quite simple. You just save it as something or rename it. Okay. And more things to try. How many extra expansion packs have you managed to add to the memory? Asks Alan Roney. Well, I have just unboxed this and I'm running it for the first time, so I have not added any. Let's try. I think I have to go to settings and to library, and then I can choose available, and it shows me everything that's available. 59.7 gigs are available from my library, and yeah, let's just install something. Not sure how to. Starting with basement era. That's a nice one. So yeah, you just press the rotary encoder and it starts installing. I'm just gonna randomly install a bunch of stuff. Faded reels. It's a nice one. These are all Maschine expansions. There are also some, I saw before some massive expansions in there. Should be possible to install those too. Oh, there's faces. Can install that. It's very small. It says it's waiting. Raum. Can install it as well. I thought I saw that before, but who knows? Ah, okay, here's the whole retro machines, Mark II. Let's install that. Spectrum Quake, Stadium Flex, that are, I think, massive. Those are massive expansions. Vintage Heat, yeah, that's a massive. So yeah, that's what it gives me here. And installed already are Reactor, Monarch, blah blah blah, what we saw before. Contact factory selection. Yeah. Okay. More questions. How many extra extension packs have you managed? Well, okay, we're downloading some right now. I don't think we'll be able to completely fill it in this session. There's, I think, 64 gigs of RAM in there, and expansions are usually like 1 to 2. If even. Does it have chord progressions? Only human ask. Okay, good question. We're gonna just quickly whoop out some instrument. Let's go with a nice E piano from FM8. It's a nice one, I guess. And if I then had chords, and you can see I just get chords, but if you choose type, you can select major or minor or whatever kind of type, lots of them available, but you can also choose chord set. And chord set gives you 8 sets of major and 8 sets of minor chord progressions. I'll just choose one randomly, and now. Okay, they're not necessarily all great, but yes, it has some chord progressions built in, although these have been in there for quite a while now, and many people have used the hell out of them, and I would kind of hope for them to add more chord progressions over time, to give it some variation. I hope that answers your question. The Kid Complete is there on Twitch. Hey guy, nice to see you. And he asked me, how did you get yours so fast? I have no clue. Native Instruments told me, hey dude, you're getting a Maschine Plus, it's on its way. And I was like, what? And then it arrived 2 days later. They were really quick. Maybe it's because I live in Germany and not too far from the storage facility where apparently these are stored. So the delivery company didn't really take that long to bring it over to my place, and maybe it takes a bit longer to wherever you are or other people are. I guess I got just lucky. It's cool. So let's check some more questions. Are we trying to max out the CPU, says Prom? Yep, we'll do that, but I assume it's gonna be a bit of a tedious process. So let's do that a bit later, not quite now. Let's see more questions. Stress testing the CPU. Yep, as I said, we'll do that. Stress testing, another one. Touchscreen is a big miss from this. Okay, first, yeah, I miss a touchscreen. I don't know if I miss a touchscreen. I'm not a big fan of touchscreens. Rename mixer group, I meant, like bass, drums. Yes, good question. The mixer usually shows the name of the group. So if you can rename the group, you can rename the group name that's displayed in the mixer as well. So that's covered. Stress testing. It's hard comparable to a blah, blah, blah. I heard it's comparable to a i5 MacBook. Well, that's apples and oranges. I mean, when you start comparing this to a MacBook, you're opening up a whole box of odd comparisons. I think the fairest comparison here is to compare it to a Akai MPC Live Mark II or MPC One. I guess those are the big contenders for this right now. We'd love to see things tied to MIDI. Okay, that's a good one. We can make that happen. MIDI sequencing and sampling would be interesting. Okay, so let's do that next. Let's do some MIDI sequencing. I have to prep that. I'll give you guys some music to enjoy while I set it up. Be right back. jack to the adapter. In. Okay, let's check this out. Cool. All right. Should you hear me now again? Maybe some preset that's not completely wacko. Okay, I think that will work for with trying. So let's add a new group. Check the chat quickly. Does Maschine Jam work directly with it through USB? You're gonna find out. I didn't think so, but they're working on it. Okay. Let me know if audio is still okay. We don't hear you. Okay, so it's back up now. I accidentally lowered the volume. So, okay, to sum it up, I connected Microfreak Vocoder Edition to Maschine Plus with USB, and I'm just using the USB on with MIDI. I'm just using the USB to power Microfreak. There's no data going through there, and want to check out if it is possible to. Music is still playing. Yep, that's true. Okay. Cool. Let's add a new group. Already did that. And now I think I have to go to channel, output. No, that's audio output. I want MIDI. So shift MIDI. Nope. Sound. There's MIDI destination. MIDI channel 1. Okay. Destination none. That's weird. Okay. Group. The group has no audio settings and other MIDI settings. Neither has the master. Thanks so much for answering our question and sharing the stuff. This is way better than asking questions on the phone towards a friendly two-man employee that has to scratch his head. Well, there might be some scratching of the head involved on my side as well today. Is there a step writing parameters? Okay, slow down, guys. I'm still busy trying to figure out how to address MIDI to this. So Max says, and thanks a lot, by the way, Max, for the help. It's very helpful. Check settings, main settings. Will do. Settings, MIDI. There we are. MIDI sync off, MIDI input, blah, blah, input devices, output. Okay, so we have USB Maschine Plus, USB Maschine Plus output. But we want MIDI, that's okay. It's disabled, now it's enabled, awesome. Let's head back to the MIDI settings of the sound. And now I can choose Maschine Plus, MIDI 1 output, channel 1. There we go. It works. Yeah, Max for the rescue. Perfect. So let's try how responsive and everything it is. Awesome, it just works. Beautiful. Yeah, I shouldn't have skipped those music lessons as a kid. But it works. Yeah, it works just fine. I can't let that stand. Let's do something proper there. We're gonna delete that pattern. I always forget how to, okay, that's how. We're gonna go back to the chord mode. What's this sound? These are harp sounds. That's cool. Can maybe do something with that. Just improvise something. Okay, quantize that. And of course, I want to know if it's easy to resample it, to turn it into an audio clip. I'm gonna start, open a new group. And here we'll go to the channel settings again. And I'll go to the audio settings, to input, source, input 1, 2, 3, 4, individually or in groups. Okay, there are stereo inputs. So I'll just select input 1, left and right. I have to unplug it now because it is still plugged to the audio interface, but we'll plug it into Maschine. Line in 1. Here we go. This is where I plugged it in. So let's see what happens. Have I muted anything? No, I have not. But where is my... Ah! It's not that loud. It's there, but... I have to raise the input volume, I guess. Yes, there we go. Let's go to the channel. You can see it here. It's not that loud though. Let's head to the settings. Nope. Outputs, plus phones. I think this is not what we want. We want the channel settings. Input. We're gonna choose a mono input instead because I was hearing it only on the left side. We get it with in 1. I don't know. Let's try. Yeah, now it's mono. Gonna raise the gain. It's not very loud. I can tell you that. That's odd. But I'm sure that's just something we can improve with the proper settings. I've raised the input gain to the absolute maximum now. I don't want to destroy my ears though. You can hear it's still not very loud, and also we're getting a very low level there. Raising the volume. Sum it to stereo. I think that's what I'm doing. Max says activate monitoring, open sampler, maybe use sampler. Thanks for blah blah. Okay. Do you have the audio routed back into Maschine? Increase microfreaks master volume then? Yeah, that's pretty much all the stuff I did. I think at least. I don't know if it's that important. I am absolutely sure it's just a question of, you know, hitting the right buttons here. So input gain in 1 left and right. So that would be mono summing, I assume. No, now it's only on the left side. Nothing here. In 1 left. Okay. pretty nice anyway. Max says, you're doing great, buddy. Yep. Could you be monitoring? Thanks for that, Max. That's a good question. Are we monitoring? External input, sync, 1 bar, recording. Monitoring is off. Okay, I'm gonna put that on. Let's see what happens. Does not make a difference, but I think it doesn't matter. Let's try to sample this. And yeah, that's something I always struggle with a bit with Maschine, to actually sample something, but I'm gonna try anyway. External mono, input 1 left, that's correct. Length 1 bar, monitoring on, start, waiting, and here we go. Uh-oh. Oh, have you seen that? It froze for a moment, but it catched up again. So okay, that's not nice. Something went wrong. I think I might have overdubbed it. And something about there's a gain setting. Yeah, Julia, that is true. I think I have raised every possible gain setting by now. It might be an issue of Microfreak not having that loud of an output. It might be also an issue of me not having checked every proper setting. And also, this is not the final software version. Again, it's a late beta, so outputs are out or phones. Okay. Well, I think we'll be fine. So I was able to sample something, but actually I accidentally overdubbed it. Cool. Let's add an effect to the external one, just for fun. No, to the group. Okay, that was pretty much straightforward. I think it was, yeah, really easy to connect the Microfreak via USB to control it. I did not run into any issues there. And resampling it, I did run into issues, but that is very likely more to my lack of experience when it comes to sampling, resampling with Maschine. But also it was able to sample the incoming signal and to create an audio clip. So I think it works. We can connect external gear with MIDI and then sample it. That's pretty much what I was hoping for. I hope that answers the question. So what else questions are there? I'm scrolling a bit through the stream, the chat. Screen looks very nice as it is. No touch screen. Yeah, Prom on Twitch, that's true. I'm not a big fan of touch streams either. I think I prefer physical controls whenever possible. Use the step sequencer, please, asks Alien Brain. Okay, let's do that. I'll open a new group and, well, let's go with, I don't know. Maybe Contact. And there's not that many Contact instruments on there, is there? I mean, I only got 50 sounds. I don't know if that's actually it or... Let's go with the drum kit. And let's try step sequencing them. Actually, something I never really use on Maschine, to be honest. Mostly I just play stuff in real time. I don't even know how it works, to be honest. Something like this. Let's solo this. Okay, and I think we can select. Okay, it's keyboard. Let's perhaps go with a regular Maschine drum group instead, because that will make things easier. What is going on with the browser though? Group, why? Oh, this is not the browser. Groups, okay, the expansions are showing up. We have downloaded them in the background. Well, let's pick one from Basement Era, I guess. Basement Era. Sorry, getting lost in listening to sounds there. Okay, so that should be fine to demonstrate the step mode, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's step mode. Step sequencer, I hope that answers your question. I personally do not use the step sequencer that often on Maschine because with the 16 pad matrix, you don't really get that far. I have a Maschine Jam, which I like to hook up sometimes, and that's, I think, more suited for actual step sequencing. So I'm having trouble catching up with the chat. I was also thinking, nice sounds, play more. Yeah, I get lost in, especially since Native Instruments added this preview feature, I get lost in listening just to previews of sounds. Found this only 50 minutes ago, but what a good stream. Thanks, Will. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Can you step right parameters? Asks Alien Brain. I think you can. Let's try that. I think we have to go into event mode. And every step that we programmed is now an event. And that event we can, to some degree at least, customize. You can see on the screen how it pops up and disappears. I can move it around. I can set master swing because I'm still in swing mode. Okay, I can move it around. I can skip through these. I'm gonna go to maybe the second snare. And I can change the pitch of that individual step. Oh, that was a hi-hat actually. Okay, let's pick something more obvious as like this. This is the kick drum. Let's try this sound. Yeah, that was a snare. So I can change the velocity, the length, and of course fine-tune the position. So that's some degree of step parameter programming, but also I think it should be possible to do more with it. For example, if I go to sound, I have stuff like amplitude envelope. It should be possible to Use the event browser to tweak that, isn't it? Yeah, I can hold a event, like a trig, and then I can change stuff here. Let's try the filter. I will just tweak the filter cutoff of this very obviously so we can hear it. And this little dot now indicates that the step has been edited. The parameters of these two parameters have been edited just for that step. If I let go, there you can hear it. So yeah, it is possible, Alien Brain, to write parameters per step. And it's actually quite straightforward. Not as straightforward as on the Electron machines, but yeah, it's very usable, I think. Thanks for the stream, Max. Yeah, Max, thanks a lot for being here and for sharing lots of knowledge during the stream. That was very helpful for me and everyone, I guess. So yeah, thanks a lot. Stay in step mode for step modulation, long press event and adjust parameters. Yeah, Julia, that's true. I'm watching the volume down. Have you already answered anything about KK compatibility? That's a nice question, Jake. No, not yet. Let's try it. I have a complete control keyboard here behind me. Forgot to switch the camera. It's a complete control S49 Mark II, I think. Yeah, that should be it. I'll just pick up a USB cable and we'll hook it up. Gonna be right back. Gotta find a cable. Okay, here we go. Got a bunch of USB cables. Just gotta pick a long one. Wow, this is impressively long. You can see how well organized this place is, right? At least everything is sort of in boxes now, so it's getting better. Okay. Let's connect it to Maschine with the USB-A port. Done. I'm gonna move this one out of the frame for now. It's not the star of the show today. Okay, should do it. Well. Okay, that's interesting. On complete, I do not get any information as I would when I usually use these two in combination. But let's head to the settings and see if we have to. Controller, this project, okay, no, cancel. Device mode, update. Hardware, pads, LEDs, touch step, blah blah. Main phones, okay, whatever. MIDI sync, MIDI input. Link is then disabled, we don't need link. Output devices. And general, quantize, okay. I don't see any settings that that indicate that it is well, it works. It works, but I do not get any information on the screens whatsoever. It's just in MIDI mode. Maybe I have to update complete Control S49 as well, because it's not working properly with Maschine yet. Is there MIDI CC step writing? That's another big question. MIDI CC step writing. Do you mean like as in recording parameter changes on effects or stuff, or parameters of a sound in real time, or per step? Because those are both possible on Maschine. Okay. I have the Mark III. I think I will buy MC707 instead of Maschine Plus because I already have all these sounds on my computer. Well, that's something to take in consideration. Just a second, I'm gonna pick up my tea. Okay. Got me some chai and a muffin. I'm getting a bit hungry here. I have a Circlone. I'm wondering how well it will play with the Maschine. I don't know, but the Micro Freak worked well with it. This is going to be a great live instrument. Yes, I would think so. I don't play live, but for those that do, I'm sure. Something that Will said before, that's absolutely a thing that I think many people will consider. If you already have Maschine Mark III, you already use it with your computer, why would you get a standalone? Because how much of a different experience will you get? Because when using Maschine Mark III as a controller in front of a computer, you probably are not looking at the screen of your computer at all, or not that much. You don't have to. And it feels just like using a hardware. And why would you upgrade to Maschine Plus then if it has less options when it comes to plugins and effects, etc.? That's a big point, I think, for many people that will be an issue, at least for those that make music at home in their studios, and they are around a running computer all day anyway. But yeah, people that play live, people that generally do not want to make music with a computer being involved, they're gonna love this. And I do get their point as well. I hear this from so many people that they work with computers all day, every day, and they simply do not want to sit in front of a computer when trying to relax in the evening while making music. That's a very valid reason to get into hardware, to make music and to have some off time from a computer. If you're having an office job or in an agency or a creative job or whatever, yeah, that's pretty much the thing. Does the muffin have a USB connection? It's a wireless muffin, Bluetooth. I assume there will be restrictions on which contact libraries and reactor ensembles will run, but the synth presets for the other instruments should work. Regarding the restrictions on contact libraries, yes, it will probably depend on the complexity of the individual contact library, because depending on how complex a instrument that is built with contact is, it can have a pretty big impact on the CPU. You might have noticed this. Some contact instruments are really, flow easily and straightforward, and some really max out your CPU if you're on a slower computer. And that's because they come in all kinds of, variations of complexity. It might be possible that some third-party contact instruments are so either complex or, badly put together and not optimized for a smart usage of resources of CPU and RAM, that they might not be able to run on this, but we don't know yet. And even if that's the case, it could also be possible that a third-party developer, optimizes their instruments in afterwards because they want to be able to run it here. We'll have to wait for that. But I am sure many developers will be intrigued by being a part of this machine, getting their stuff into this machine. Because imagine if you're the first third-party developer to offer a really cool contact instrument or even like VST instrument that is able to run on this. Pretty much everyone that has this will buy it right away because it's just the one that's available, and you want to have that one to, broaden your palette of sounds and possibilities. So I'm sure that's going to happen. Please have a look on the FM8 and what and how we can add parameters there. Thanks a lot for your demonstration. Dikoshi, I hope I said that right. Yes, we can do that. I mean, we took a look at FM8 before, but not really in depth. Actually, here's FM8 right there. It's in chord mode. So yeah, it's just the usual, oh, sorry, switching the camera. It's just the usual 8 parameters assigned to the knobs. And in this case, we have 17 pages of them. I don't know if we can actually do in-depth sound design, to be honest, with this, because I have here like delay, tremolo, flanger, phaser, peak EQ, cabinet, tube, drive, master, ARP, output. So it focuses on the effects and the main settings and the performance settings. Like these easy to dial in performance parameters like harmonic. It doesn't seem to allow you to go really in deep, but maybe this varies depending on the preset. Let's check another one. Oh. Browse instruments and going to stick with FM8. Just gonna randomly check another one out. No, these appear to be the same parameters. So yeah, it seems to be performance-oriented selection of parameters, not so much aiming at designing sounds newly from scratch. I guess typical workflow would be to create a new patch with FM8 or with whatever plugin on your computer, importing it here in however way that is done. I haven't figured it out yet. And then tweaking it in real time for performance. I think this is what they're aiming. Massive is pretty deep though, yes. Okay, I'm missing a lot of stuff. I assume there will be restrictions. Okay, we had that, sure, FM8. Having Monarch and Massive at a gig would be game-changing, no laptop on Linux. Yeah, definitely VM Sky. I see it the same way. Linux is the shizness. Can't say anything about that. I'm not a computer expert. I don't think Sample Logic's library will be able to run on Maschine Plus because they are very CPU heavy. Yes, they are. Some others are as well. And I'm not even sure if it has, in some cases, I think it's just bad programming because they're not putting much effort into streamlining them. In others, it might be due to the complexity, but I can't tell for sure. Massive is pretty deep though. Well, yes, Massive is pretty deep, but it's also pretty old. It was written for, or programmed for top CPUs back like years ago. And when I first used Massive, it was on a super old MacBook Pro, like no idea how many generations back. Back then, it was really CPU heavy. It ate 40-50% of my CPU in Ableton back then, and now it's like nothing because it's old, but still nice. Serum would drink the CPU like a yes, Serum would. Not expecting to see Serum on this anytime soon. I notice you sit on a computer, so what is the advantage of the normal machine that is, well, complete tutorials? We talked about that earlier. That's a very good question. For somebody that works in a studio with a Maschine Mark III and a computer, there's probably not much of a difference. These people will have to figure out if it's worth the upgrade or not. For those that like to make music without a computer and like to maybe take this to a live gig or use it during a DJ set or use it to make music on the go, this is gonna be super awesome. It really depends on your needs. I noticed you, yeah, okay, we have that. Honestly, Massive and Monarch make happy, yeah, that's true. FMA, so you have to connect to a computer to make sounds with the synth engines. Electric Heart, well, to a certain degree, if you want to create new sounds from scratch, at least with the plugins with a deeper synthesis engine like FM8, I think you do. You can tweak and alter existing sounds very well with this, but I don't think it's meant to, be used to create sounds from scratch. We can try a simpler plugin. Monarch is pretty simple. So let's try. Let me switch this. Take a sip of tea. That's good. Sorry for the tea drinking noises there. Let's try Monarch. Okay, some things are not as I expect them to be. I just loaded some random Monarch. Yeah, and as expected, this gives me control over filter, resonance, blah, blah, and you have 8 pages. Well, in this case, I can actually change the oscillators. Which gives me more. This one actually on. So yeah, Monarch, pretty simple one, and here I can actually work with the individual oscillators to create sounds, and the more complex plugins, I guess, it's more like tweaking performance. What else do we have? Massive on its own is good. It is. Serum does exist in hardware form. Does it? Tell me more about that, please. Not sure. If the machine workflow kind of like a computer works, I'm open to it. I get tired of the box sometimes. Well, I love about Maschine that I don't have to look at the computer screen for hours at all if I use it. I think Maschine has a very well thought of workflow. I'm not into Maschine for, I haven't even been using this for a long time. I started like around March when pandemic started and lockdown, and I didn't have anything to do, so I thought, okay, might as well use that Maschine Mark III controller that I bought ages ago, I never used, learn how to use Maschine. I was surprised how fast I got really quick at it. You build up some muscle memory, you just fly sometimes if you have a good day. Obviously today I have to take care of 1,000 things at the same time, but yeah, you get really quick fastly, and that's something I like about it. I switched from Maschine to MPC, never looking back. Fair enough. You're making hip hop, that's the ledge. I'm not quite sure. Could you plug in a stage piano, say a Nord, and play it through the Maschine in a live situation, or would you have to sample its sound first? Well, you could use the audio input and play it and insert some effects to it. We did that before with the Microfreak. With the Microfreak, you can use Maschine Plus as an external effect machine, which is pretty cool on its own, I think. Thank you for your reply. I just logged in, so I missed that. Keep up the good work. Thanks, complete tutorials. Is Maschine Plus out already? I don't see it on Amazon. It's not out yet. It will be available from October 1st. It is possible to pre-order it. They sent out a limited number of copies, production, not pre-production copies. So this is actually the same hardware that you will get when you buy it. It's not the same software though. It is still a late beta version. And if you're asking why I got one, please don't ask me. Ask Native Instruments. I have no clue. They just said, hey, we're sending you one. And they didn't even tell me to do something with it. It's not like we send you one if you make any videos or live streams. That's not how they roll at all. They're just like, okay, we want to send you one. Want to have one? Yeah, okay, cool. And then they send it over. They just, you know, leave it up to yourself. It's not even any of this, you know, we don't say you have to do content with it, but it's kind of implied. And if you don't do it, we won't work with you anymore. Nothing like that. It's nothing like that. I know many people think companies do that. Some companies do that, but many don't. They're actually just regular, decent people that enjoy music, that enjoy YouTube channels and videos. If they see something they like for some odd reason, they reach out. It's like, hey, you want? And can we send you something? And that's what happened, I guess. I don't know, you have to ask them. I was mind blown. I was like, what? Maschine Plus? Are you serious? And it got here so early. I think I have one of the first final models, like production models that were delivered. It's amazing. Let's see some more chat. Pre-order, yeah, pre-order is on. Well, pre-ordering stuff, I personally rarely do it. I think I would probably do it with this because, you know, it's the 4th generation of Maschine, and it's the first standalone, but they have been doing it for a while. But usually, when something new comes out, I like to wait until, you know, the first in-depth reviews kick in, and I can read stuff about it online and such things. So that's up to you if you want to pre-order something. So let's see, shows FM8 parameters or massive parameters access Alien Brain. I think I did that before. Can do it again later. Beatmaker 3 is my standalone. That's cool. I love Maschine. I just switched to Push 2 for a while, but it's just not as snappy and straightforward as Maschine. Yes, I agree. I use Push 2 as well, almost daily. It's my main centerpiece controller because Ableton Live is my main DAW, but it does have quite some shortcomings. There are many things that could be better about it, but it's still an awesome controller. I really enjoy working with it. What do you need to change to swing? Just curious. Knob for media and groove and slide samples, which include MC grooves. Is that not enough? That's not a question towards me. Could you go over the effects that are in the box at the moment? Yes, Roy, of course. Let's do that. Good idea. Let's maybe mute the music for a moment there. And let's just pick something that doesn't completely suck. Is everything muted or yeah, everything is muted. There's nothing in there. Okay. Yeah, whatever. Let's just use this whack drum beat I made a while ago on the first group. And to add effects, you just use the 4D knob. That's the quickest way. And you press it, and then you can choose between native instruments and internal. Internal are the Maschine effects that are included. Native instruments are the VST effects. So we have FM8 effects, phases, Raum, and Reactor 5 effects. Let's try phases. It's the phaser from the modulation bundle. different modes. Oh, a lot of OSync and stuff. Okay, also we have ultra mode. Ah, there we go. Let's slow it down. Okay, not too spectacular. Let's see what else we have. Raum is a pretty nice reverb. Okay, that's cool. And then we have Reactor 6 effects. That's interesting. So there's many blank parameters here. I can check out effects, FM. So that's interesting. So apparently Reactor 6 effects are available, but they're not in there yet. Maybe there's some content that I have not downloaded yet. Maybe they're not done implementing it. But potentially this could run Reactor 6 effects. Apparently, that would be awesome because there's some really nice effects from Reactor. Like imagine using the VHS audio degradation thing. For example, that would be very nice. So yeah, and then there's of course the internal effects. I'm not gonna check out all of them, but it's just your basic collection of, you know, bread and butter effects: compressor, gate, transient, master, limiter, maximizer, equalizer, filter, cabinet, and so on. And some of these are really nice. Ice, for example, very popular on vocals. Doesn't make much sense on drums, perhaps. But yeah, I have a thing where I would often ignore the onboard effects of things. Like I ignored Ableton Live effects, internal effects for a long time. I ignored Maschine Plus effects. And maybe that's because I have been making music with computers for around 25 years now, at the least. And in the early days of plugins, internal effects were often really shitty, as well as in DAWs, as in like, you know, VST instruments. There were not many, but sometimes they had like an internal reverb and delay, and it was almost always crappy. So for some reason, that's deeply in my mind, that if I get something, I will add third-party effects on top of it as much as I can, because I think, you know, they're better. But that's not necessarily true anymore. Many internal effects of many DAWs and software are great. And I think Maschine Plus will force me to actually spend some time with the internal effects and discover them. And maybe I'll discover some really nice things in there. I don't know, but I'll see. I'm gonna share it with you. If the standalone doesn't have CPU problems, then it would be cool. Well, so far we didn't run into any, but we didn't really try to run into any. We're gonna max it out in a while. Is the Maschine Plus made of some plastic or real metal? Just the top plate metal. It's not heavy, so I assume all plastic like Mark III with brushed metal look like. No complete tutorials. It's actually covered in aluminum, as well, the top as well as the bottom, and it's noticeably heavier than the Mark III controller. At the beginning of the stream, we compared them. I have the Mark III here. It is, well, it's not that much heavier, but it is a bit heavier, and as far as I know, it's also it's a tiny bit higher. It's just a slightly bit higher. Because they have to stuff more things in there, but yeah, the build quality is very, very great. It feels fine. It feels sturdy, and it feels how you say, it's worth the price. It feels well. Reactor effects would be nice, true. Phases doesn't work well with drums. Yeah, that's true. Using a phaser with drums, probably not the smartest idea. I like Maschine workflow. I just hate the fact that it's usually CPU heavy when I start creating more than 6 tracks with certain VSTs, says Luke. I didn't have that experience so far. Like Ableton is making more CPU problems for me personally, but maybe that's because I use it in a very different way. When I use Maschine, I usually use like 8 tracks or 10. It's simple loop-based music, hip-hop beats very often. But when I use Ableton, it's more for complex, deeper tracks. Sometimes it's like 70, 80 individual tracks in a song, which I would probably never fill up with Maschine. And this is why I got into Maschine in the first place, because I noticed when I make music with Ableton Live, I do it in pretty much the same way, because I have been using it for such a long time, since version 5. I have my routine of doing things, and I wanted to get out of the box a bit, as in the thinking box. And I thought maybe if I expose myself to a new piece of hardware, it will force me to, you know, tackle tasks differently, and it will open up different ways of making music with it. That's true. The music I make with Maschine sounds different than the music I make with Ableton, just because it's a different workflow. It leads me to other places, and I enjoy having that option once in a while. Just leaving my my comfort zone, leaving what I do all the time, and try something new with a different piece of hardware. And yeah, it's awesome. It's a great privilege if you're able to do that, if you can afford having this choice. I'm aware not everybody has, and that's totally okay too. But yeah, for me, I like it. I bashed the price tag at first. It's starting to make a little more sense for me, says Jake J Music. Well, yeah, the price it's a lot. I would never be able to afford this just like that. I wouldn't have this here if they didn't send it to me. It's slightly more expensive than the MPC Live Mark II. I do think on the long term they will even out price-wise. So this will probably, the street price of this will probably go down a bit after the release, usually does. Well, it's really a difficult question. This could be, for some people, this could be the main hub of their setup. This could be the centerpiece of your music production setup. You could do MIDI sequencing, recording, you could do everything you ever want to do with your little setup of synths and drum machines and whatnot, or even singing or playing guitar. This could be the main hub, the center. And for that, well, it's still a lot of money, but a good laptop, audio interface, etc. will probably cost you more. So maybe that's a justifiable expense then. If you already have a Maschine Mark III and you have a computer and you have all this kind of stuff already and you don't play live, well, then maybe it's a different, story. I just noticed this little, you see that? It says pull. I was scared to pull here, but I'm gonna. Pull and discard. So here we go. This is the user data micro SD adapter. And it's just a regular USB adapter, micro SD adapter. And inside we have a micro SD card, 64 gigs. Cool. Let's put this in here again. Yeah. And there's a second slot. No, it's not. It just looked like it. That's a Kensington lock, I think. All right, can you grab your Jam and hook it up since Jam works in compliant MIDI way? Let's see what happens. Yes, Carl makes music, definitely. That's the next thing we'll do. I'll just quickly grab my Jam and be back in a second. Okay, so here's Jam. I haven't used this in a while, to be honest. Kind of collecting dust. And I'm gonna just use the USB cable from this and connect it. Let's see what happens. Not much. Okay, I hooked up Jam to Maschine now. Yeah, and it simply ignores it. It doesn't do anything. Maybe Maschine does not deliver enough power even to power it, but it does light up when you connect it. So I guess it does get power. Oh, were you able to see that? But yeah, it does nothing. Well, but it's something maybe they will add in a future update. Maybe there will also be a new Maschine Jam coming sometime. I don't know anything about it, but I could imagine. I mean, the Jam wasn't the most popular member of the Maschine family. I think they had a bit of a hard time positioning it in the market. Lots of people didn't quite understand what it's good for. And I get that. It's something you have to use maybe for a while to figure out what you personally will get out of it. It's not as self-explanatory as the Maschine. So I think it's a nice addition to Maschine. Would be great if they make it work. So okay, Luke and Carl, everyone is sad because it doesn't work. Carl makes music, Shift and MIDI. Okay. Let's go back there. Shift and MIDI. Gonna not give up that quickly. If you guys ask for it. Shift MIDI. Well, yeah, I don't think we're gonna have any luck there. So in the master settings, MIDI sync, receive clock, send clock, MIDI input, none or focus. I don't know what focus is. I don't know what that is actually. Link is not on. Input devices. USB Maschine Plus. Status enabled. Output USB Plus. Status enabled. So now everything that is USB MIDI is enabled. But this just simply does not register. I mean, Shift and MIDI on Jam. MIDI is the Q button. Okay, thanks, Carl. Let's try that. Yeah, that's something about the Jam that always bothered me a bit. There's this cheat sheet, and I usually have to have that like next to it to just memorize all the different combinations. Shift and MIDI. Where's MIDI? He just told me. MIDI on Jam. MIDI is the Q button. Okay. Q button. Nope. Nothing happens. It's not even... It's pretty odd. It's not even being powered. It just powers up once. You can see that. And then it just goes into... I don't know. Into nothing. I think at this point it just doesn't work. Also, a guess, in order for complete control keyboards and maybe at some later point Jam to properly work with Maschine Plus, they will have to receive some firmware upgrades as well, because they were made like way before these things were available. I keep forgetting to take a look at Twitch because more of you guys are in YouTube, on YouTube. But Prom asked, "Are we trying to max out the CPU?" Yeah. Okay. Let's do that now. That's a bummer, but thanks for trying. Yeah, you're welcome, Carl. Is there anything else you want to try before we max out the CPU, or you want to do that next? Because I can imagine it can take a while to actually do that. I'm gonna take a bite of my muffin. That's a hell of a good muffin. Okay, Carl wants one last one. No, keep them coming. It's fine. Okay, let's do the stress test. I'm gonna start a new project. Discard. So recent, blah blah blah. New. Okay. Blank state. I think probably when it comes to CPU intensity, Prism is not very CPU intense, is it? I don't know. Probably Reactor. Boris mentioned, Carl says, Boris mentioned from Native Instruments, mentioned that presets are available for MIDI devices like auto mappings of CC, Korg. I have a couple of Korg synths like Monarch. I was wondering if I could work out of the box. It's potentially possible, but I have not received any mappings yet. This is not a production. This is not the final version of the software. This is still a beta software. It is the final production of the hardware. The USB muffin. It's a great muffin. Let's max out this thing. I'm gonna go with massive. I think massive is probably a good idea too. Yeah, I stand by it. I stand by what I said earlier. Sound processing is actually not as snappy on the Plus than it is on my computer, but that, again, might be due to this not being a final version of the software. So take it with a grain of salt. I like this sound. Let's do a chord to... Totally messed that up. It's not my usual tempo. Let's go with something like that. Okay, quantize that. Okay, cool. Now, some expert from the chat, please tell me how to put synth to a single pad instead of group, then just duplicate it to all 16 pads. Yes, exactly. That was what I wanted to know. Hey, Simon the Magpie's here. Hi, Simon. Nice to meet you. He just wants to say hey. Hey. That's great. Thanks, Carl, for the tip. That's what we're going to do. Go to pad mode, and now I can just duplicate this to, let's start with 4, and we're at 7 to 10% CPU right now. And now we jump to 30. I'm gonna zoom in on the, so you can see it. Oh, we had some peaks. It peaked around 40, but then it went back to 30. We're at 4 since now. Let's up it to 6. Wait, am I doing this right? Am I? No, I'm not. Because I'm not playing all 4 of them. I did an oopsie. I did an oopsie. I just duplicated the paths, but I did not duplicate the pattern. So I have to actually duplicate the whole. How can I do that? No, not the pattern. Delete. The music doesn't have to be good. We just want to see what it can handle. Yeah, same here, Joseph. The thing is, and that's a big thing for me, this is something I would now do quickly with a mouse and keyboard, but I can't. I have to figure out a way to do it with the hardware. So give me a moment. I can just manually overwrite it. That's what I'm gonna do. It's gonna be fine. Okay, this works better. Okay, second one. Yeah, we want chord mode. I just want this to be a bit, you know, scientific. As far as possible. Where's undo? Here we go. Chord, and gonna play the same pattern with instance number 2. We're at 37% CPU use. Okay. It's gonna be sounding terrible, but you know, I'm gonna turn it down a bit. The group, maybe. Okay, we're adding a third layer. Still in chord mode. Here we go. We're up to 37 to 46. On the next one. And number 5. Oh, okay, we peaked at 70 something, and it's down to 56 now, 81, 60. It's very inconsistent. Adding instance number 6. We're up an octave, so it's more audible. This sounds so terrible. We're at between 50 and now it's maxing around 78, 69. It's going up and down all over the place. Okay, we need to add more, even more. Let's break this thing down. I want to see it. I want to see it break down. Just for the fun of it. Let's duplicate this like 16 times. I'm just gonna layer top on top. Never mind the musical quality of this. I'm just gonna turn the volume almost down, and yeah, let's keep it going. We had 6 instances of massive playing a 3-note chord each. Number 7. Oh, you see that? We got a little alarm signal there. Where's my pad mode? Okay, select the next unit. Well, whatever. Let's add another one. But I think we're getting there. We're close. Okay, now we're at 88, 76, 77, 84, and I lost track. How many instances is this? 7 or 8 instances of massive with 3-note chord playing simultaneously. I'm gonna add another one. Ah, it's cracking. Yes, we're there. We're overloading, 100%. Get this warning. Instance number 9, I believe. Let's go with this one. I should play a number of notes at the same time. This is getting ridiculous. More. Mayhem. It's not breaking down. I don't know what to tell you guys, but oh my god. That was awful. I had a bad feeling doing that. I think at the end we had 9 instances, around 8 or 9 instances of massive playing a 3-note chord simultaneously, and then it got to it was cycling between like 80 and 100%. We got overload warning, in like an exclamation mark, before it actually started cracking. And then we added even more, and then it started to degrade in sound. But it kept running, and it didn't like totally collapse. Maybe it does if we keep going, but we did push it quite hard. I think that's not bad for a standalone unit. Like 8, 9 instances of massive. Keep in mind that was a 3-note chord. 8 instances of a bass line or whatever, like monophonic sequences, would probably use up less CPU resources. Now somebody asked if it gets hot. No, absolutely not. It's slightly warm, like lukewarm, but not hot at all. So I'm very sorry that I had to do that, but so many people asked for it. I wanted to see this thing under pressure. Can I buy this track on Bandcamp? I'm pretty sure you can find thousands of tracks like that for free on SoundCloud. Don't even have to look for it. Max Audio Loop. Okay. That's a good idea. Max Audio Loop. Let's create a new discard this. And I don't often use audio loops on Maschine, to be fair. Loops, and we have basement era. Let's go with fader reels. I think they have some nice stuff. Okay, I'm gonna turn down the volume of the group again, and I'll just randomly add the samples in chronological order. Is this how you do it? I usually don't work with. I'm adding the same one all over. That's not cool. Number 3, number 4. I'm assuming that it can take a lot more sample tracks than it can take synth engines. I'm just duplicating it now. So now we have 16 loops going on. What's with this? Okay. 16? Nah, not really. I'm getting a 47%, 48% of CPU. Well, keeping the MK3 then, use USB only power for controller mode. USB only power for controller modes. Can it be powered via USB only? No, definitely not. You have to power it with a power plug. Dark Sound of the Moon, yeah. That was Theo Maido, I wanted to know. Oh my god, my typing sucks. God, yeah. All been there. Yeah, Ghost Infinitum, that's something we talked about earlier. I can imagine, and many others, I think in the chat as well, can imagine that it's a good point for many people that have a Mark III controller and a nice computer, and they use it in their own home or studio only, and do not tour or play live or DJ or want to make music somewhere else. It's a good point. Why would you upgrade to the Maschine Plus? I think it really comes down to your philosophy of making music. Some people hate making music with computers, but they might be really intrigued by the Maschine workflow. That's something they could enjoy. Others, like me, I enjoy making music with a computer a lot. That's how I started. I started making computer music in 1969, roundabout. Back then, when you made music with a computer, people laughed about you. Did not take it serious. Like, you need a studio. You need a $300,000 studio with a huge console and analog outboard gear and analog whatever to make music. You can't make music with a computer. That's ridiculous. And there was so many prejudice towards people making music with computers back then. And yeah, that totally changed. We all make music with computers now. So it's a good question. Do you need a standalone? I don't know. Atom Machine wants me to do an aim and break on it. Well, I don't know how to get it in there, to be honest. Well, I could use the SD card, but I think I'm too lazy for that now. I wonder how much the MPC Live can handle versus the Plus, Emotion Z22, as far as CPU performance. It's difficult to compare because it doesn't run the same plugins, but at least on paper, this has quite a bit more power CPU-wise than the MPCs. Doesn't necessarily have to mean that it's more powerful because raw power is not the only factor, but also optimization of the internal instruments and effects. And yeah, generally the way how the power that's available is distributed and used by the operating system. So it's difficult to compare these things on paper. And it's also difficult to compare the performance if you can't use the same effects and plugins on them. The only thing you could realistically compare is how many audio tracks can you be playing simultaneously. As far as I'm informed from the information I got with this is this should run more tracks. At least I think so. Not to worry, Dachi. Yeah, thanks, Atom Machine. You made me sweat there with the atom break thing. Sampra wants to know, will it work smoothly when you connect the Moog Sub 37? Yes, it will. We tried that earlier in the chat, in the stream. We connected a... We connected this, the Microfreak vocoder edition. It worked flawlessly. It was really easy. You just route to the, you just, make the proper settings MIDI-wise and audio-wise, and you can just Midi sequence the external synth with this, and then you can record the audio back into it. It worked fine. Getting some lag here too. Laggy. My computer started stuttering at 48 instances of massive, all playing a 3-note code. Yes, definitely. Your computer will be, most modern computers will be more powerful, way more powerful than a device like this. And that's to be expected. This is not a MacBook Pro with an audio interface, controller interface, put on it. It's a different category of device. When you connected the complete control, does the keys provide lights keyback? No, it didn't. We connected it and it did not. It worked, as in you can play some notes with it, but it didn't give me any visual feedback on the displays screens. That might be due to either the fact that this Maschine, although it's the production model, still runs a beta software version, and also the complete control keyword might have to receive a firmware update to be compatible with the new controller. As the Maschine Plus is not with the new Maschine, and as it's not been released yet, apparently there's not a upgrade available. Use SD card. Yeah, I can do that. When you connect the complete control, does the keys? Oh, okay, we have that. Could you use your MK3 and Plus in tandem? Because I'm getting an updated SP404 vibe from this. That would be so dope to use them together. I was thinking about that too. Let's connect it and see what happens, but I don't think it will do anything. I don't expect this to work. Okay, it powers up, and then it waits. Yeah, doesn't do anything. If we hit Shift Midi, no, it's just not recognized. But I think that's to be expected at this point. Thanks for the stress test. Well, it will hold up well depending on what you're doing with it, Batmine. It's a groove box. It's like sort of related to the MPC concept of making music, and traditionally that is a sample-heavy way of creating music. And if you're just sampling and using samples, I can hardly see this run out of power soon. Like you would have to do some very complex stuff to do that. If you want something to run a lot of VST instruments on, well, I would say stick with a computer. I think the whole VST plugin or Native Instruments plugin compatibility with this, at this point I think of it as an added bonus. It's amazing, it's really awesome, but it's not even something I would expect a machine like this to do. It's an add-on, and for that it's really great. Real music can be made with less, yeah, of course, always. I meant like Audio Plus from Plus, while MK3 runs MIDI to PC. Well, yeah, why wouldn't that be possible? You can sync this with Ableton Link, with MIDI, via USB, so you can run both in tandem. That's a good idea, actually. I think I will do that in a different stream. So audio in from Mark III to Mark III from Plus. Yeah, that should work. Why not? That would be cool. Which country do you live in? I like your accent, Will. I am a German. I live in Berlin, where Maschine was developed. I'm kind of digging that. I'm usually never proud of my own town, city, whatever, but kind of makes me happy a bit. Is there something else we should do, or should we wrap it up? I was about to order Digitakt Plus 1010 black box, but just spotted this, so I pre-ordered M Plus instead. All I want, just jam on a sofa with a hardware synth and Strymon timeline. It does what I want. Well, it doesn't run on batteries, but Digitakt does neither. By the way, that's something that confused me a bit. Many people complained about this not having a battery, an internal battery. I didn't get that because nothing here has an internal battery. Like literally nothing I use except like the OP1 has an internal battery. When has that become a thing? When I use gear in a studio, I usually have to plug in a power cord, and I don't see an issue there. Maybe people thought, okay, they would take this on a bus or in the plane and make music with it, which, yeah, does anybody really do that? People like, who does that? And if you do that, you can still use external power, how you call these, power pack or something. I was told it works fine with that. Is it worth upgrading from an MK2? That's a hell of an upgrade. Do you mean the Akai MPC Live Mark II or do you mean Maschine Mark II? Can you use it in controller mode and see what it's like to transfer files? Oh yeah, kit complete. That's a very great idea. Let's do that. I haven't even thought about it to hook it up to the computer. Where's the here's the USB cable. I'm gonna switch these. Oh wow, it has you can connect it to itself with USB. I wonder what happens if I do that. Will it I don't know, will I break it? Will it explode or something? I think I don't want to do that at this point. Okay, so I'm connecting it to the computer now. I have one in front of me to check the chat. Maschine 2, well, it depends on your needs and your expectations and the kind of music you're making, if, you know, whether or not this is worth the upgrade. It's very difficult to answer a question like that. If you want a standalone music production center-like experience and dig the Maschine workflow, and you can live with the limitations that this brings with it as well, then yeah, definitely worth the upgrade. If you just want a newer version of the hardware but want to keep using your computer and have access to all third-party VSTs and effects and stuff like that, maybe the Mark III is the better thing to go. Complete tutorials, I love how you ignore my question about the arranger's new features. Oh, I'm very sorry. I'm having difficulties keeping track of the things in the chat. So the arranger features, I think, are not in there yet. We can take a look. If I go into song, I have the usual scene, and then I have the song mode, and we took a look at a demo project earlier. It looks as if this new feature has not been implemented to this version of the software yet. Does it have a step sequence, 16, 64 steps? Well, yeah, it has a step sequencer, at least 16 steps, I think up to 64 at least. Somebody else might be able to answer that. You will get the same response if you write to NI support, says Joseph. That's a burn. I'm not completely disagreeing with you. It really depends. Sometimes they are really quick and responsive and helpful, and sometimes not so much. It's been a bit inconsistent, but overall, I made more positive experiences with NI user support, customer support. Usually they were always able to help me, and to be honest, I didn't need their help that often. I didn't have many issues. The battery requests, yeah, I'm wondering about them too, VM Sky. I don't quite get it, but maybe it's because the MPC Live Mark II has a built-in battery, and the Live, people now think this is something to be expected in this type of device. Well, do we expect built-in speakers now too because it has it? It's a bit weird for me. He has the production machine and not the beta model. Yes, that's true. It is the final production unit as it will be shipped to a store near you soon. It is just not running the final software version because that will be released on October 1st, around October 1st. Okay. Can you plug in a guitar and sample right away? Nope. Yeah, you can, definitely. I can't because I don't have a guitar. But there's 2 line inputs, stereo line inputs, and I don't see why you shouldn't be able to connect a guitar. It doesn't run Guitar Rig though. Maybe that's something they could add in the future. That would be awesome. I mean, we talked about earlier that this also could be a effect unit, like a live effect unit where you just send stuff in and run it through effects. And the more effects they add, the more that makes sense. And you can sync it with MIDI, and you can have parameter automation or parameter lock, so to speak, on effects and run external gear through it. That's something I'm going to explore in the next time. Thanks so much so far. Yeah, you're very welcome, Roy. Actually, yeah, good question. Can you use High Z instrument into mic port since it has a preamp? It's not a mic port. There is a mic port and there's 2 line-in ports. I don't know about how to. I'm not a guitar person at all. I don't have a guitar, never played one, and I have no experience. I can't answer that. My issue is that a battery should have been possible if my phone that is smaller than a book can hold it. Yes, I agree to some degree. A battery makes it more expensive, makes it heavier, makes it potentially larger. It possibly requires a different cooling solution because batteries heat up. And, well, it potentially leads to more customer service, issues because a battery can break, or it can leak, or it can blow up, or it can make troubles, or whatever. And yeah, so there's many reasons for a manufacturer to at least question the idea of putting a battery into something. And in this case, I think it's okay without a battery. Did you answer the standalone VST installation? Yes, we did install VSTs in standalone mode in the beginning. It's fairly easy. All you have to do is go to settings, and then you have library, and then you can see what has already been installed, and then you can see what is available from your user account that we synced or linked with this at the very beginning of the stream after the unboxing. And then you can just install everything that's in your account. These are mostly expansions, but FM8, for example, was not on the machine when we unboxed it, so we installed it from there, and that worked flawlessly. That was a very simple experience. Well, Joseph, if you keep the same quality on future streams as this one, your channel will grow quickly, top notch. Oh, thanks a lot, Will. I plan to do that. I hope and keep up the quality. Seems no third-party contact sound allowed. I repeat the question. Can you sample from each note in different velocities and with round robin without? Sorry, by the way, if I miss any questions. There are many questions. I can't catch up with them. I don't know about the different velocity and round robin sampling. I do not use Maschine for actual sampling that much. Maybe there's some other experts in the chat that can answer this. It's not so much that third-party contact sound libraries are not allowed, but they have not been ported yet, because contact libraries do not run on this per se. They have to be ported to the machine, and they have ported the ones that are needed to run the available massive expansions at this point, and some more. And it's very likely they will port more of their own native instruments, contact instruments over time, depending on the complexity of the instrument and the CPU need it has, like how CPU hungry they are. It might not be possible for all of them. And on the long term, it is not impossible to port, at least as far as I am informed, to port third-party contact instruments to this. If it's possible with their own, it should be possible with others. But whether or not developers from other companies will jump onto that train and will have a desire to do that, that's another question, because it would require them to put in some work and money, and we'll have to wait to see how. I mean, if this thing blows up, it will be a best-selling device and everybody is using it and becomes the standard groove box. Sure, Output, Heaviosity, companies like that might have an interest to be a part of it and to, develop new instruments for it or port their existing instruments. That's a possibility. That's very likely. That's imaginable. If this stays a niche product with few users, well, then maybe it doesn't make so much sense for a company to put in the effort. Time will have to show. So we do not have access to our complete library, says Emotions. No, not to the complete library, to a part of it, to a selection. With an external drive and standalone mode. External drives, as in USB, connecting a USB hard drive is not supported yet. It's something they are working on as at the moment. It has the highest priority as far as I'm informed. So this will be one of the first features to be added with one of the next firmware updates. And once it is supported, it will apparently be possible to host your samples and whatnot on an external drive. But it isn't at this point. All you have is the internal memory and the SD card, which you can swap or connect to a computer. So let's get back to what we're trying to do is put it in controller mode. We connected yet? Yes, it is connected to a computer now. I'll try to show you. That's probably the best way to show it to you is this. I'm launching Maschine 2 software on my computer now. Let's see what happens. I'm starting to think the plus was meant as a complementary to your Mark III setup. I'm feeling that's the market here. I'm gonna put this away now. It's confusing. Okay. Well, maybe some people use it in that way. That's not impossible. I'm starting, what do we have? Is it possible to modulate loop position with LFO in the sampler page? Lettuce bar, that's a very good question. I'm not an expert on the sampling capabilities. Let's take a look. Just sample like nothing or internal, no, cancel. Internal, start. Input, master, okay. What's happening? Okay, something weird happened. Not sure what that was. Sampling. Did I sample something even? Oh, I don't think so. To be honest, I can't answer that question. I have not run into that feature. You can't change loop positions like on an Ableton device, says Greg. Okay, thanks for that info. Marcus asked, looks like aluminum. It is. It has a aluminum outer case, as well as on the top as the bottom. Very sturdy. I saw a video from Native Instruments where they said the external HDs will be possible. Yes, definitely. They confirmed that to me. It's something they are working on, has highest priority to add that feature really soon. There's no auto sampling in Maschine like there's an MPC. Yes, sampling on Maschine never really, I'm not that familiar with it yet. I didn't use it much, but I will start using it a lot with the Standalone, I'm sure. That was one of the first things I tried after a Digitakt for the first time. Yeah, Digitakt is a different beast. I have one back here. It's beautiful. So, okay, I keep sidetracking. I have connected Maschine software. The question is, can I now use this as a controller? It is not being recognized yet. Maybe I have to go to settings, hardware, touch strip display, Okay, general settings. That's not it. Library, device mode. Okay, so what's the controller? Okay, discard. I have now set it to controller mode. It says Maschine Plus is shutting down. To keep track here. Okay, it's shutting down. Is it now restarting? What is it doing? I don't know. What is it doing? It's like still lit. Okay. I can see on my computer screen that the Maschine software is somehow responding to this. But not really. I'm gonna turn this off again. Huh. This might be due to the fact that the Maschine software on the computer is not yet updated. it hasn't been updated to run with Maschine Plus. Okay, I'm gonna quickly check if there's already a Maschine software update available with native access. Checking out that right now. Because now the software doesn't really recognize the controller. Available updates, Maschine 2, yes. Okay, gonna close Maschine 2 and update it. And that will just take a few seconds and we'll see. First bug. We didn't run into any real bugs yet, to be honest. It was pretty stable. We didn't do, you know, that much of a complex stuff with it, but there wasn't any issues yet. The update is not available yet, says complete tutorials. Well, I have an update available here. It is sort of trying to update it or something. Let's see. Well, that might be, I don't know if it's public, and I don't know if it's actually the update we're waiting for. Maybe it's an older update and I didn't update the software in a while. This here says 2.11.1. I don't know if that's the actually the big update. So it's interesting, the controller is now somehow in a standby mode. Okay, it's been updated. I'm gonna start the software again. Understandable, true bugs will arise once the masses get it. Yeah, Ghost Infinite, that's right. I think even with the best beta testing, it's impossible to find all the bugs. Real world daily use, that's what will show all the bugs. Okay, so now it's connected to the software again. And yeah, again, you can see what it's doing. It's just, it's not really doing anything. What did I do? Stuck. Okay. So apparently the software that's on this is not yet ready to work with Maschine software, or the Maschine software is not ready yet and hasn't received the update that it needs to work with the new Maschine Plus. But that's to be expected because it's still like 3 weeks or something until this hits the market. And they told me when they shipped it to me that it does not run the final version of the software it will be sold with yet. So I'm afraid that's actually something that doesn't work. I think Kit Complete was the one who asked for it. Sorry, it does not run in controller mode right now. Don't know why. Control surface, Maschine Plus. Well, Maschine Plus does show up in the preferences, at least, of the software, so it does exist there. It knows it exists, but the controller somehow doesn't react anymore now. Okay, I had to force quit it, and I'm restarting it now. It's the first time something in the live stream actually didn't work. Yeah, and as I said, it's not the final software version, so don't worry about it. It's gonna be fine. I'm pretty sure they figure out how to use a Maschine as a controller. I mean, that's what Maschine has been doing all the time. Ah, okay. Has it now actually? Oh no, it's in standalone mode now. That's odd. That's really odd. Okay, so let's try one more time to bring it into, how do we do that? It was device mode, okay. Oh, there's an update available for the hardware as well. I'm updating it right now. This is the weirdest live stream. Will Joseph has to leave now. Classy informative streams. Thanks a lot, Will Joseph. Take care and stay safe. And thanks for joining the chat and the stream. Thanks for giving honest answers anytime. That's what else would I do? 11.1 is available for me too, and I don't have one. Okay, that seems to be the public latest version then. I'm starting to dig it through. I honestly know since this thing's release how I'd utilize this. Yeah, I mean, there's so many possible different ways to use this. As we said before, I can see people using this as their main studio hub, like the center of their music production setup. If they go DAWless, I can see people using this as a drum machine or like a sampler, either in the studio or in a live situation. I can see DJs using this as a complementary. I used to DJ. I was a DJ for 15 years, and I would have loved to take in something like this to the gig and hook it up with sync it up with my DJ setup and just use it to play along. I'm getting some messages here. Okay. You check that. Random messages. Okay. Controller mode doesn't work because you don't have the desktop software that supports Maschine Plus. That's what I saw. Okay, just getting live messages from my friends over at Native Instruments. The controller mode does not work because you don't have the desktop software that supports Maschine Plus. That's what I thought. The software has not been yet updated to work with Maschine Plus, which makes sense because the Plus is not on the market yet. This will be released before the in-store date, says Mick from Native Instruments. Thanks a lot for updating this. So yeah, that's pretty much the only thing that did not work so far, and it can't work because the software has not been updated to work yet. That's fine. That's not a big issue. And something we talked about before was, let me turn on some music. Something we talked about before was people that have a Mark III and have a computer, why would they want the standalone if they have a running system that brings them a lot of joy and has lots of options? True, but the Maschine Plus is a controller too. So you're not losing anything by upgrading from the Mark III to the Plus. You're just getting more features, as in using it without a computer and stuff like that. So I think there will be a market for it. There will be people that dig it, and I for sure know I dig it. Okay, Native, you got me. I'm sold. Haha. Probably the hardest critic they've had. Ghost Infinitum. Yeah, I feared that, but it's good to be critical with gear, and that's how we improve things. Native Instruments should add you to the Maschine beta program. I have actually. I can't talk about it. Let's say I've seen things, man. I know where this fits in my setup now. Dope. Yeah, as we were talking before, I can see people using this in many different ways. As with everything, I'm always amazed seeing how different people use gear in totally different ways than I would anticipate them to. I think OP1 is a prime example for it. There's so many different ways to use OP1 in the studio, on stage, as a toy, as a series instrument. To make art with it, I've seen it in installations. It's crazy. And with Maschine, it's not that different. You have to figure out for yourself if it's something that fits in your workflow, or maybe that changes your workflow in a way that you want it to change. That's a very individual and that's a thing you have to figure out. I'm not a fan of telling anyone this is something you have to get and this is something that will work for you. I don't know you. I don't know what your needs are, I don't know what your musical visions are, and so I can just give you so much information about how I think it. And he make a jam, Native Instruments. Now we're getting a lot of chat for the Native Instruments team there. Make a jam version. Well, at least I would wish for a updated Maschine jam to accompany this. That would be great. Yeah. I don't know if we need a standalone Maschine jam. No, if you have a standalone Maschine Plus, would you invest a similar amount of money into a standalone Maschine Jam Plus? Maybe not. After HD Prod, we all want jam support. Yeah, jam would be great. Like the regular jam as it is would be great to have. Save project, discard. I think we are pretty much done yet here. I want to thank you all for joining. Oh, there's some more questions. I'm gonna get into the questions. Come on, this is my first real live stream. The first time I'm doing this, it's fun. It's weird. I understand Jam, least popular Maschine product family, one who has it, we love it. Yeah, it is, it's a bit of a weirdo. If like Maschine, there's the Maschine family, and Maschine is like the cool dude. Jam is like the weird kid. It's like, and I like weird. I'm weird myself. But Maschine Jam is like, it's a bit of a weirdo of a controller. I noticed that a certain type of people dig it. Like people that have the tendency to put work and effort into learning a piece of gear and really finding out what it can do and what it can do for them individually. They dig Maschine Jam. And people that are like more after instant gratification, like, okay, I want to, turn it on, press a button, let's go. There's a potential for frustration in Jam because it's really not that intuitively to use. Yeah, but it's a great one too. Thank you. Does it feel like an instrument to you or more like a computer DAW in a box? That's very subjective, but electrons feel like instruments to me while current MPCs are very computerish. Okay, I have something to say to that. First of all, Maschine felt to me like an instrument even before it went standalone. That was always something that I thought was amazing about Maschine. Checking the music. What's the music? iTunes crashed. That's odd. Maschine always felt like an instrument to me. It's the only USB hardware controller I ever used where I actually did not have to and want to look at my computer screen. I noticed when I started using it that my screen would go into sleep mode and I never woke it up, which I thought was amazing. So it felt like an instrument to me all the time. And this does even more because it's standalone. As for Electron, sometimes with some of the Electron gear, I get a vibe of actually using a computer. Because Electron has a very, like, a tracker approach to doing things. And I used trackers in my early days of making music with computers, so it's something I associate with computers. Something about the Electron workflow for me sometimes feels more as if I'm using a computer than using a Mark III with the actual computer connected to it. It's difficult. Do they have piano sounds that all I need to know? I want to play my keyboard in standalone. Sure, there's the pianos in there, of course. Jam is a step interface, yep. Are they going to get Bluetooth? Yes, it has Bluetooth. Easy to develop patterns? Yes, if you know how to develop them. Difficult to answer questions. I don't know your skill set. Very helpful, thank you. Yeah, you're welcome, Electric Heart. More audio ins are covered by the possibility of using complete audio via USB. Yes, Roy, that's correct. At this point, you can, as far as I know, not connect external audio interfaces, but it is something that is planned to do by NA, as far as I know. So you can connect the Native Instruments audio interfaces via USB, so you get additional inputs and outputs, if that's something of importance for you. Yes, Digitakt reminds me of a tracker, to be specific. Yes, and that's not a surprise, because actually I watched Electron talk, like some event they had at their place here in Berlin, their Electron studios, and they were talking about that in the very early days of Electron, they were passionate users, or at least some of the developers were passionate users of trackers. When they were designing the core idea of how Electron devices, I think back then it was the Mono Machine, or the Machine Drum, or one of those, when they were designing the core basic principle of Electron workflow, they had trackers in mind, and they integrated some of the tracker workflow into it. That's still, you can find traces of it in every Electron piece of gear. Do external synths work over USB MIDI? Don't know. Possibly. I'm sold now. It's nice. For external synths, we had an external audio interface for more inputs. How cool is that? Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think so too. Only wish user pack with a cover art and with a sample on every note velocity round robin. Having Sonic Couture hang and una corda will be the best. Thanks. Thanks, Samp, for the compliments. User pack with cover art. Yeah, that's a wish of mine too. I never really liked the way the user section of the browser looks. It looks like improvised and unfinished, and I would love to have that have as sleek of an appearance as the native instruments or the main part of the browser. There's nothing that really affects workflow, does it? On current machine, there's a registry fix needed to fix the MIDI performance. I don't know about that. A lot of people in the internet forums complain loudly, but really they are good to their customers. I've used, yeah, you have to keep in mind that satisfied customers are way less likely to leave a comment in a forum. It's usually those that get really pissed off and angry about something that leave a comment. So forums, comment sections, YouTube comments, they have a tendency to over accentuate on happy customers, because yeah, whenever you left a comment like, hey, that was great, no issues at all, beautiful. But when you get really angry and annoyed by a company, that's when you go online and leave hate comments everywhere. And most of us did it, I guess. I know I do it pretty often with delivery companies, for example. I'm excited for this product now, man. You did this device justice. Thanks so much. That's cool. Many of their upgrades have had no charge. Ableton Link, bass, and drum synths. Yeah, that's true. That's something I like about Native Instruments as well, that they upgrade their stuff without charging every time. And if they do, they don't charge that much. There are some other companies where I think it's frustrating. You buy a piece of software, it's pretty, affordable, but then every year they update it and they ask for like 30 or 50% of the original price with each update. And over time, you spend a lot of money. Something I don't like. Well, to be fair, there should be accommodation made for customers who are current Machine and Complete owners looking to upgrade to Machine Plus and Complete 12, says Jake. Yeah, I don't know. That's something that comes up every time a company does a move like that. Sure, it would be awesome. Who wouldn't love that? Who would love a discount? But I'm not sure if that's how it works, like financially for a company. If every company did that with every product, like that would be difficult for them to. Maybe to do that, it had to be more expensive for everyone else. That would be not a nice trade-off. But I'm not an expert on that. In general, I was very happy with the Mark II over the years. Yeah, I was really happy with my Mark III too, which I still have here. I was thinking about selling it for a day or two. I thought, now the Plus is coming. Maybe I'm gonna get rid of the Mark III, but I decided to keep it for now because I want to explore what these two can do in combination with each other, as somebody wrote before, using them in tandem. And yeah, I really want to, do more comparisons for videos with them, really doing in-depth comparisons with both units next to each other. That's a nice thing. I have always been a advocate for the idea that just because something new comes out or a new version of something comes out doesn't make your old thing anyway, less good or bad or whatever in any kind of way. Just because there's a new Maschine Plus does not mean Mark III is not still awesome. And as well, or even Mark II, it's with everything. Of course, marketing doesn't work like that. Marketing has to tell you, dude, the new stuff is way better than maybe it is, but I don't feel my old Maschine getting anything less great and enjoyable just because there's a new version. That's how I keep things usually. So why is the price higher when MPC Live 2 offers more? Well, as for the price, you have to ask the manufacturer. I cannot tell you. The question, if MPC Live 2 offers more, I don't know. Does it? How do you measure it? I mean, on paper, this has better specs performance-wise. It comes with more content. It has stronger hardware, like CPU-wise and stuff. But then MPC Live has a touch screen. Maybe has a built-in battery. Maybe that's important for some people. I don't know. Is it better? Is it less good? How do you measure these things? Ableton gave no discount for Push 2 for live users who already had Live Suite. I don't expect a discount for mine. Didn't we get a discount back then with Push? I don't know. I think Push... I'm not sure. Maybe it was the other way around. I think I got a discount on upgrading to Suite because I already owned Push. Something like that. I'm still rocking my Maschine Studio. Never felt the need to buy. I love the Maschine Studio. That's something I am desperately waiting for a new version of Maschine Studio. I don't even care if it's standalone or not. I would love to have a studio updated. That would be great. I think hardware is best friend from software. Definitely. They did have a Push Live Suite bundle. Yeah, that's true. CV is a nice option on the MPC. Yeah, okay, that's true. CV outputs and inputs and whatnot are a great option. I think, at least from my perspective, from how I see things, Maschine users and modular users are potentially not really the same crowd yet. So typical Maschine user maybe does not have, a wall full of modules. People really deep into Eurorack or other kinds of modular synths don't dig computer-based or, computer-oriented groove machines, groove boxes that much maybe. So in order to have this, give this access to the modular world, CV in and outputs would be great. But then the question is, do you want that as a manufacturer? Why would you want that? What's the benefit? And I don't know if really that many people will actually miss it. I know some will. Darren will. He just wrote it. And I will too, because I do enjoy, at least I have Dreadbox Erebus here and the Microfreak and some stuff with CVs. I've been eyeballing the Hydrosynth that actually has CV inputs. So yeah, it's something that people that are more progressed in their journey, into synths and music production and have collected quite some gear and have a lot of experience, that's something they look out for. But I don't know if that's the main target audience for a Maschine. It could be, maybe. Complete tutorials, exactly, we don't want it. I think they gave up on the studio. I don't know. Maybe it will come back at some point. That's something I wanted to talk about too. Let's talk about, give you some nice close-ups of Maschine. This is the first standalone instrument that Native Instruments have brought to the market. There's no reason to believe that it's going to be the last one. Just imagine if you're a company and you are focused on software and it's the first time you do a standalone instrument. That's not just a controller, but it's a standalone instrument. Are you going to go all out or all in or whatever and reinvent the wheel and create something completely new from scratch without knowing that the market will even accept your new, approach to doing hardware, and maybe setting yourself up for incredible failure? Or will you just take a close look at your product portfolio and you then realize, okay, we have something that people already like and use and that has been a success in the market, and we can just take that as it is and slightly alter it to make it a standalone machine, and then see what happens. And if it works and people accept it and ask for more, then we know, okay, people want us to do standalone instruments as well, and then we go all in. And that's exactly what Akai did back when they made the transition from the MPC Renaissance to the MPC Live some years ago. they took a software controller and slightly modified it to be a hardware controller, so they could test the waters of the standalone business, so to speak, which they had not been a part of for quite some while. And after successfully testing the waters, they went all in and they developed new machines. And I think this is something that could happen with native instruments as well. If this is a success and people dig it, they will make more standalone instruments, and those will be more powerful and have more features, and it will grow into a product family. So this is the market debut, so to speak, of a, of course, well-established company, but it's their very first standalone instrument, and I think it's pretty awesome if you keep that in mind. It's a really complete package. I don't miss anything about it. It's great. And I can only imagine what the next generation of this or other standalone instruments of them in the future, you know, might add to the table there. That was my little speech there. Let's check the chat one more time. 8 batteries, touchscreen, and speakers. Well, we talked about that a lot in the stream already. Batteries, why would they? Nothing here has batteries, never complain about it. Built-in speakers, no. I never got why Akai did that. It's like built-in speakers are the main giveaway of something not being a professional tool but a toy, at least they used to. You know, there's always a thing with built-in speakers that, I mean, OP1 has them, but obviously it's not trying to be a professional instrument, it's trying to be playful. No built-in speakers. And what was the third one? Touchscreen. Yeah, I don't miss it. I'm not a touchscreen user, but for some people that might be an issue. That's true. Okay, thanks, guys. I think I'm gonna round it up. I hope you enjoyed the unboxing and installation and first try of Maschine Plus. Thanks again for tuning in, for watching, for your many questions and input and the help you gave me in the chat. And yeah, once again, I'm super mind blown that I have received this. I'm incredibly aware of how much of a privilege this is to have a unit, to have it so early. And I'll try to, you know, with privilege comes responsibility. I will try to make some great content with it. A review will have to wait until the final software is there, but maybe a first look video and some comparisons and some testing and whatnot. If you have anything in mind you want to see me try with this or do with this, if there's questions, if there's things you want to know about it and you want to see it do, just let me know. Just leave me a message on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube, in the comments. Just reach out and let me know. I'm happy to answer your questions if I can and try to do some stuff that help you, yeah, get an idea of what this does. In 3 weeks it's available, then you can try it yourself. And yeah, thanks a lot for the many kind words. That was the first live stream. Let's end it in style. Thanks, guys.